For the record, here is what happened at Christmas dinner, not what it felt like. What happened? The Reynolds family Christmas is not a small event. 14 adults, 4 children, 2 dietary restrictions that changed in October without notice, a vegetarian who insists she doesn't need a special dish and then picks around everything on the table, my mother's house, her kitchen, her idea of what the holiday should look like, my labor reliably for the past 9 years. I don't say that with bitterness. I say it because it's accurate. Every year I source the caterer or coordinate the cooking depending on what the budget allows. I handle the RSVPs. I build the timeline. When appetizers go out, when the main course lands, when someone needs to corral the children before the gift exchange collapses into noise. I manage the flowers, the seating, the temperature of the room in the literal sense because my mother runs cold and my brother's wife runs warm and someone has to find the number that offends nobody. This year's guest list included a late addition, Gerald Hartman. My mother's neighbor recently retired from something in finance, now sitting on 2 corporate boards. His wife Margaret, they were pleasant people. I had confirmed their dietary needs in November. I arrived at 9 in the morning. The caterers arrived at 10. By 2 o'clock, the house looked exactly as it was supposed to look, which is to say it looked like my mother had done it. The seating chart appeared sometime around 3. I didn't make it. My sister-in-law Diane had apparently taken it upon herself. She presented it to my mother as a fait accompli, printed, laminated, taped to a small wooden stand near the entry to the dining room. I found my name near the kitchen pass-through. A small round table, technically part of the dining area, positioned so that whoever sat there could facilitate the movement of dishes without disrupting the main table's flow. I read my name on the card. I read it again. Then I went back to the kitchen and made sure the timing on the roasted vegetables was correct. This is not heroism. This is what people do when they've learned that the moment of the thing is never the right moment to address the thing. The family photo happened at 4:15, before the light through the front windows went flat. Diane organized it. She called names. Her husband, their children, my mother, my brother, aunt who drives in from Harrisburg every year. I was standing near the bookshelf, approximately 12 feet from the fireplace where they assembled. No one called my name. It's possible no one noticed I was there. It's possible they noticed and made a rapid, unconscious calculation. I watched the photographer, a cousin's boyfriend, dressed into service, count to 3. I watched my family arrange their faces into the expression families arrange for photographs. Then I walked back toward the kitchen to check on the bread. Gerald Hartman arrived at 5:10 with Margaret, and a bottle of wine he handed to no one in particular near the entry. He was one of those people who reads a room by reading its infrastructure. I've met a few. They don't look for the loudest person or the most attractive person. They look for the person who knows where things are. Within 6 minutes of arriving, he had made his way through the dining room, past the main table where my mother was receiving guests with the ease of someone who had done nothing that day, and into the periphery where the work had been done and the worker was standing. He looked at the layout, the placement of the serving stations, the quiet logic of how the room was organized. Who put this together, he asked. Not loudly, a direct question aimed at whoever was closest, which was me. I did, I said. He nodded slowly, the way people nod when an answer confirms something they'd already suspected. He asked 2 specific questions, about the caterer, about how I'd handled the timing given the kitchen's single oven, and I answered them in the same register he'd asked. Practical, specific, professional. My company does a year-end dinner for about 200 people, he said. We've had the same event coordinator for 6 years, and she's retiring in March. I'd be interested in continuing this conversation. He handed me a card. Then he moved toward my mother to say hello. The dining room, in the way of dining rooms, had continued its low hum of noise throughout this exchange. But my mother had gone briefly quiet. Diane had heard. My brother had heard. Nobody said anything. We ate dinner. Vegetables were correctly timed. The bread was warm. The children were corralled before the gift exchange, as planned. I sat near the kitchen pass-through and finished my plate. I drove home at 9:30. Gerald Hartman's card was in my coat pocket. I hadn't mentioned it again, and neither had he. That's the thing about professional people. They make an offer once, cleanly, and they trust you to know what to do with it. I don't know what my family said after I left. I don't know if my mother connected the dots, or simply moved on to the next thing. I know that Diane's seating chart is probably still taped to its little stand somewhere, waiting to be thrown away. I've been seen more clearly by people who've known me for an hour than by people who've known me for decades. I'm not sure what to do with that yet. I'm not sure I have to do anything.